it's so important that you apply this information to the things that you do, the aspirations you have, and the career you envision for yourself. So I do want to personalize all of this. I know I'm giving you very general information, but if I can specifically help you with something that may be standing in the way of you feeling like you're a confident speaker, then please let me know what that is. I always advise everyone, and we'll talk about this more specifically, so it definitely bears repeating a little bit later on. Every presentation, you have an obligation, or you feel you have an obligation to get that message across. But ultimately, you have to realize there is a limited amount of bandwidth that anyone can process within that presentation. So you do have to pick and choose. I'm not saying to eliminate information, but what I'm saying is to be able to rise up high enough. And the thinking is, if I thought my presentation was supposed to be 30 minutes, but suddenly they told me I had 10 minutes, how high up would I have to go so that I still have a broad coverage of the topic without actually going into all of the details? So it does require the higher view and the higher connectivity between all of those ideas. What if instead of 10 minutes, you only had 5 minutes? That requires an even higher view. Now, yes, a lot of the details, you will never touch on them, but it is a good discipline in how well you understand what this topic is all about. Also, the benefit is that it will keep you on track when you're doing a presentation. I understand when you have a certain amount of information, you feel, again, obligated, a responsibility to get it across. But what's more important is understanding what human listening behaviors are and making sure, because people will shut down if you're speaking too quickly. They don't know what your obligation or your responsibility is when they begin to listen to you. You have to be able to give them that takeaway. Let's say there was a series of presenters. The time is running out. People are starting to leave the room. You've got about 2 minutes before they're going to shut everything down. In that case, you go to an even higher view, because if at a later date someone were to ask you a little bit more detail about any of those segments, you can begin to drill down from there. But trying to put everything into a much shorter time is a recipe for disaster. So remember, change that perspective. I like to think of it as, you've heard the term, the 40,000 foot view. Well, going a little bit higher based on time. In other words, when you get squeezed for time, go up to a higher view.